Welcome to the Nerd Social. I'm Nathan.
I'm John.
And I'm Colin.
So we're going to review Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. As usual, we're going to go over our spoiler-free thoughts about the movie. So I think we should start with John. Do you want to start with what you thought about the movie, spoiler-free?
Sure. I loved it. It was great. My family enjoyed it. And I'd probably put it up in my top 5 of the Marvel movies. It was crowd-pleasing. Everybody in the theater, well, the 3 other people that were in the theater, we all enjoyed it. And I just thought it was it's definitely a much different Marvel movie. I didn't know what to expect. Nobody else did either. And we were all the better for it. I enjoyed the fight scenes, the choreography. I'm always paying attention to that stuff with the martial arts in the movies and the fight scenes. And the way they choreographed everything was very exciting, very innovative, probably on par with the Winter Soldier fight scenes that I recall. It seemed like it was very intense. The acting behind all the stuntmen and even Simu, it looked almost real. And it didn't look very hokey like you would remember from the old kung fu movies of the 70s. And even though it tries to invoke some of that imagery and scenes, again, I thought the fight scenes were fantastic. Especially, when we get into the spoiler talk, I can speak more specifically on those scenes. My takeaway from it, coming from someone who has read the comics way back in the 80s, it's definitely very different from the comics, and we can go into that a little bit more. And the changes they made from the comics, I think, definitely made sense. I see why they did it, especially for the Marvel Universe in the movies, especially for what they're trying to set up Shang-Chi to be, especially as part of the new Avengers, or at least of the next phase of the Avengers that they're trying to put together. So I can see why they did a lot of those things and definitely improved on it. And at the same time, I think some of the changes they made, they had to, because, and again, we'll get into a little bit more of this, some of the origins of Shang-Chi and some of the characters and why they even came up with Shang-Chi in the first place had a little bit of a racist background to it, especially some of the characters. And they had to address it. They had to make some changes. And I think they did a real good job with it in this movie. And they even called it out a little bit. Even though it was a single throwaway line here and there to try to explain some of these things, I appreciated it. I see what they were doing, and it worked out very well in the end. Very beautiful scenes, especially with a lot of the magical elements in the movie, and again, very exciting. It did harken back to some of the Disney movies I've seen recently, particularly Raya. And but again, Raya was a great movie anyway, so I'm okay with that. And I think but it was so obvious though. As soon as everybody else around they said, "Hey, Raya, that was in Raya." But again, in the end, great overall movie. I like the way they were tying things in. Some of the stuff looked a little bit forced the way they're trying to tie things in, but that's fine. Just get right into it, establish them, and get right into it. Overall, again, very enjoyable movie. I want to see it again. And Colin, I'm jealous because you got to see it again.
Yeah, I did get to see it again today, actually, for the second time. I have a friend actually has seen it 6 times, actually, 6 times. And that's unbelievably wow. Yeah,
Okay.
He's an enthusiast, let's say that. But I just think that overall, I like the movie a lot. I think that it's a solid origin story in terms of if you haven't caught up with the MCU or haven't got on the train, I think it's still a very good standalone movie in that regard. In terms of representation, it definitely hits home the representation part, especially during its opening last week. A lot of people from my circles within the Asian American community came out, supported the film in full force. And I think that reflected a lot in the box office numbers. And I just see it as though it's a very good kind of coming together as a Asian American community for a lot of people, especially with what's happened in the last year or so with the attacks within the community due to the pandemic influenced attacks and things like that. I think that it's a sense of great pride within the community that there's something like a hero that's embodied by Shang-Chi. So I think in that sense, really great overall. Not to the level of, say, Black Panther, because I think that Black Panther is definitely another level of cultural phenomenon within the Black community. But for the Asian American community and Asian community in America, it definitely is heartwarming to see yourself on screen, but also see like the characters being done right in a lot of ways. And in terms of the movie itself, I think that going back to what you said, John, there were some elements that did remind me of Raya, that did remind me of Mulan, that did remind me of some 80s Hong Kong movies and all of that. And that's great and all. And it's okay that I personally have seen it so many times that I'm not that much fazed by it, even though there was some really great action scenes. But it seems as though I've seen this before. But it's okay because
Yeah.
and now everyone gets to see what we've appreciated over the last 20 something odd years or 30 something odd years. People get to see the brilliance of Tony Leung, just like a brilliant actor making his like Western cinema debut.
Yeah, I definitely like the movie as well. I should have said at the top that the movie is directed by Dustin Daniel Cretton, and I think he does a good job because he's trying to juggle a lot of different things. He, Dave Callum, and Andrew Lanham wrote the script. So having to account for and write around some of the problematic origins of this character, I know was probably very difficult. Doing an origin story is also very difficult as well. I think this ranks, as far as MCU origin stories go, I think this is number 5 on my list, so it's actually above some of the original Avengers. It's a really good start, I think, and I actually like it better than Black Widow, and I like it better than Captain Marvel, which is more recent solo movies as well. I think because of some of the elements that you mentioned, Colin, having seen a lot of this stuff other places, a lot of the wushu elements, the Jackie Chan elements, the Chinese mythology elements in other places, it didn't hit as hard as I guess it could have for someone who saw it the first time. Also, I think that they were either not confident in the movie or just concerned about the movie because of COVID, because they released too much of it online. So almost nothing that I saw was a super surprise to me because they put a lot of it online. Unfortunately, there's a bus scene, without spoiling the bus scene, if you haven't seen it online, that they put most of the bus scene online. I think they, like, more than half of it is online. And there are a couple other elements here or there as well that wasn't too surprising. I did appreciate the general storytelling. So there are, I mean, I should probably run down the cast a little bit. And I think this movie, even though the title is Shang-Chi, the movie really is Tony Leung's movie. He was the most standout character for me in this movie. They gave him the most to do. And quite frankly, when you watch Black Panther, it's the same thing in that movie. So T'Challa is great in that movie, but it's really about some of the supporting characters. Killmonger still is the show, but not just Killmonger, Okoye, and Shuri as well are really great characters in that movie. But this movie specifically, you empathize and you understand the character to a certain extent, but the character is also, without spoiling things, there are some things that the character does that you don't necessarily empathize with it, but they write him in a three-dimensional way. He's not a one-dimensional character. So I think he was my favorite character in this movie. I think that they employed Awkwafina the way that they usually employ Awkwafina. I don't know if this is Awkwafina at her highest or her best, but she does a good job of doing the comedy in this movie. And unlike in Crazy Rich Asians, she has gotten rid of the black scent, which is good. Simu Lee does a really good job with the stunts. I think I was watching The View, a segment of the View last week, and he mentioned he did a lot of the stunts himself. And you can see that from the actual scenes that he's the one doing the stunts because the camera's on his face a lot. There's no cutaways. So I appreciate that he committed to putting in the work to actually make the stunt scenes look really great. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I said that the way that it's just shot, I think the action set pieces and also the choreography is probably one of the best in any Marvel movie that I've seen. Again, I don't know that this is my favorite Marvel movie, but it is probably my favorite action movie that Marvel has made just because of how complex and the coverage that they do on the fight choreography and the thought that they put into the set pieces. This also, of course, has the issue that all Marvel movies have, or most Marvel movies have in the third act, where it just blows up into a bunch of CGI that is hard to follow sometimes. And that where there's just a bunch of computer graphics moving around that you really have to watch the movie maybe 6 times to actually see everything that's happening in the end of that scene. That's actually really impressive. I saw Black Panther I think 4 times in the theater. I didn't get up to 6. So the fact that your friend got up to 6 in the first week is really impressive. But yeah,
Yes.
I think it's a solid MCU movie. It's a really great introduction movie as well. These intro movies are really difficult to do. I think I did my ranking the other day, and Batman, Captain America, the first Avenger, those are like somewhere at the bottom of my my list of all the MCU movies. Thor, because they're really difficult to do in an interesting way. The sequels are always better, so I'm really looking forward to see what they do with this character moving forward. And like I said, I appreciated all the homages that they did to Hong Kong cinema and also Chinese mythology, but I would actually want to see what new ideas they come up with in the future for the sequels. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Definitely go and see it. But we are interested to hear what you guys think about the movie as well. So please comment down below and subscribe for more content like this. And we will see you next time. All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.